Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have more of a relaxed video for you guys. I'm doing a tag video and I hope you enjoy. So if you would like to find out what's the worst eyeshadow palette, what's the best, what's the most frequently used by me, then all you have to do is keep on watching. As you can probably tell by the title, today I'm doing the palette tag. I have my questions written down. The tag itself was created by Samantha and Allie Glines, and I was informed by my lovely subscriber Kathryn Louise about this tag. She said, "P.S. would love to see you do the palette tag video." I love the idea. I have so many palettes that I actually have a full drawer. Went through the questions, I picked out the eyeshadow palettes that I feel like fit the category or answer the question, and yeah, I'm gonna share that with you guys today. So the first question is, what's your newest eyeshadow palette? And mine is the Made by Mitchell Feet on the Ground palette. I did a video on this about 3 months ago, and that's when I kind of bought it. That's the last time I bought an eyeshadow palette. Recently, because of work, I don't go out as much. I just go to work and come home. I go grocery shopping and then I don't wear makeup. I only put on makeup, like a full face of makeup, for YouTube videos. But when this came out, I was like I need to get it because the colours in here are absolutely stunning. It's a great palette. If you haven't seen my review, I'm going to sum it up for you. It's fantastic. It's great. It's one of the most pigmented eyeshadow palettes in my collection and I love working with this. It's very, very good. The second question is one of my absolute favorites, and it's, what's your oldest palette? And I went through, I had a look and I could not decide because it's been so long that I bought some of these palettes. I definitely should get rid of them because they are most certainly expired. But the one eyeshadow palette I have kept, and I definitely kept for a reason. It's my first high-end palette, and it is the Too Faced chocolate bar palette. Can you tell which two are my favourite shades? This, if I ever create a palette, is coming with me. I love this eyeshadow. I love the colour of it. I would bronze with this if I could, if it was any bigger. There's so much like sentiment here because it was so expensive. In fact, I think my mum bought it for me because to me back then it was so expensive. I can't remember. I think this might be like easily 7 years old or something like that. The third question is, what's your most expensive palette? And I did have to have a look at the prices because to me the Made by Mitchell palette was quite expensive. Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals was quite expensive, but the reason why Textured Neutrals from Tati Beauty was expensive was because of customs. It's actually not that expensive. It's definitely up there. It's definitely high end, but it's not one of my most expensive. The most expensive palette in my collection is actually the Jawbreaker palette from Jeffree Star. It does cost £55, so now I look at it, it's actually not that expensive, but £55 is expensive enough for something that is just an eyeshadow palette. I really like it. I do get a reasonable use out of it, and I love the pigmentation of it, the blendability. Some of these shades are very unique and I haven't found a replacement in any other palette. Jeffree Star has a reasonably good formula. Definitely not my favourite, and definitely not £55 worth. However, the colour scheme, the originality, I mean, look at the packaging, the idea, you're kind of paying for that as well, and it was definitely worth it. On the other side of the spectrum, what's my most affordable palette is probably the W7 Bare It All. This is the raw one, all mimicking the Huda Beauty, I think she called them nudes, nude palettes, and I have the darkest one. Formulation wise, for the price of £4.95, less than £5, is incredible. I love the shimmers. I wish there was a lighter shimmer in here, and I wish there was a darker colour in here as well. I actually used it on my eyes today. I did have to dip into another palette for the black, but overall everything else that you see is with this palette. I really like it. Creates a beautiful smooth eyeshadow application, eye look. I really like it. It's one of my go-to for something like this, for like a warm smoky eye, and for $4.95, I mean, you can't go wrong. This for me was actually quite hard to answer. Everyday palette. What's your everyday palette? On daily basis, I just don't have the time in the morning or the effort. When I do makeup like this, it's like an outlet for me, so I want to enjoy it. So on daily basis, I don't tend to put eyeshadow in. However, if I do, if I want to put a little bit, like a wash of colour in my crease and maybe something on the lid, I reach for this. This is a Polish brand called Vibo, and this is a collaboration with one of my favourite YouTubers, is Malowana. She created this palette with a lot of neutrals over here and a pop of colour on this side. These two shades are my go-to when it comes to everyday makeup, and Perfect and Milk are just perfect. One of my favourite questions: what's your most colourful palette? And the reason being is I love colourful looks. I love Be Perfect when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. This used to be like my go-to colourful palette, and I did get a fair use out of it. If you look, pretty much every single eyeshadow has a slight indentation in it. I mean, clearly some of them I've hit pan on big time, and this is so good. The formulation is just out of this world. When this came out, this has put colour in makeup on the map, at least for me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this, whoo girl, it's amazing. Obviously I recently, not so recently, but the Carnival 3, again, this is Be Perfect, and it is a collaboration with Stacey Marie, who created the initial Carnival palette. This has even more colour, even more shades, and again, the formulation is probably the same, if not better than the first one. The black is what I used on my eyes today, and the black, I've hit a pan on. That little dot there, that's not a speck of glitter. I just realised it. I have officially hit pan on my Carnival 3, and I almost kind of want to cry, because this is my favourite all-time black, the Black Beach from Be Perfect. Question number 7, what's your smallest palette? And this one was quite hard because I don't have many small palettes. I do like to have a lot of variety when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, and like I said, I like a colourful look, so I like to use a lot of colour. Even for this eye look, I used 1, 2, 3, about 7 shades. I know it may not seem like it, but I did use 7 shades. But I did find a palette that has been in my collection for a long time. This is my like make your own palette from Inglot. This essentially is a empty palette. You buy an empty palette and you buy individual shades that you can put in. I kept it. The formulation is terrible. It used to be good. Inglot used to have one of the best formulations, just like MAC, but they haven't gone with the system. They haven't upgraded, they haven't invested in improving their formula, so a lot of brands very muchly surpassed what they are offering still. This is like one of my very first palettes. They're not bad shades, but they are not great. Again, on the other side of the spectrum, what's my biggest palette? And I've seen this to be the theme with a lot of people. The Morphe palettes are absolutely huge, but this is no surprise. They do offer £35 eyeshadow palettes, so they've got to fit them in somewhere. This particular one is the Jaclyn Hill 2, and this is my disgustingly ugly, filthy Jaclyn Hill 1. Let me show you the inside. The inside looks even more battered, but again, this used to be like the thing everyone wanted. And now a question I didn't expect in a palette tag video, but looking now, I have so many good memories with the Too Faced palette that there's no surprise this question is in. What's your biggest, best memory when it comes to an eyeshadow palette? This Revolution Jewel Collection palette, I actually don't like it as much as I expected. I did create a beautiful look with this, and these shades at the top are one of the most foiliest, best eyeshadow. The formulation on this, can you see this? So pigmented, so foily, so reflective. And the reason why this palette holds one of my best memories is because Adam from Revolution, the founder, has found me through this palette, through a picture that I posted on my Instagram. He followed me from his account, he liked my picture, then Revolution liked my picture, they reposted my picture. It has been on Thailand's Revolution page, it's been on France's Revolution page, and you know, it was sort of like almost like a validation back then. It was just nice to see that someone who knew what they were doing liked my work, and yeah, this was really nice. Next question is worth the hype palette, and to be honest, a lot of these palettes are totally worth the hype. Back when Jaclyn and Morphe collaborated and they came out with this bad boy, and everyone, literally everyone, whether you were a makeup artist or not, wanted and had this palette. It was totally, you know, worth it. It has beautiful shades, they blend so well, the shimmers are great. Everything was fantastic. What to me is not worth the hype, and this could totally be such a uncommon opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palettes. I do like the Alyssa Edwards palette. The colours in here speak to my soul on another level, and the black and the white are great. Supreme is very good, but these, some of these, especially these two, the blue and the purple, do sometimes go patchy and they are a little bit harder to work with. The reason why I kind of thought of Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes straight away is because I bought the Riviera palette back when it launched. Was I like head over heels with this? No, I wasn't at all. I probably used it twice, and I've been trying to sell it on Depop ever since. The next question is, what's your favourite palette from your favourite brand? And then it was like a 2-in-1 kind of question, because I had to think about what's my most used brand, my favourite brand, and it definitely has to be Revolution. They have so many good products for an affordable price. They have skincare, they have hair care now, and they have so many like sister brands. Revolution is definitely killing the makeup game. They have improved their formula and so on and so forth. But then I thought, they're actually not that good when it comes to eyeshadow, which was very ironic. So I was like, oh, who am I going to choose? But then I thought, hold on, there is one palette that I have recommended over and over again to my friends, to my family, to my subscribers, and it is the Soph Revolution palette. I actually don't have it with me right now. Mine fell apart. I hit pan on several of the shades and I completely forgot about it because I have so many eyeshadow palettes, but I feel like I'm going to have to repurchase that one. The first initial Sophie X Revolution palette is so worth your money. It's £10. It's got a mirror, it's got so many beautiful shades. If I'm not mistaken, there's 15 shades in that one. The shimmers are fantastic. The mattes are so good. The colour scheme is just so great. Everything about that palette is perfect. The one thing that I would change is the plastic packaging. But back then, you know, I didn't care about whether packaging was plastic or not. Soph and Revolution palette. And last but not least, what is my most used palette? As you saw throughout, I have several different palettes that I like for different reasons, but if I had to choose one palette that I probably have used the most with hand on heart, is the Be Perfect Carnival palette. The initial one, the first one. I remember having to pay £40 was so much money, but then I was so pleased, so happy that I did. It has highlighters, which I personally am not the biggest fan of. Neither of these suit my style or my liking or my skin tone really, but they do work as an eyeshadow, so that's fine. I usually mix these two eyeshadows for my blush. I used to love wearing these two eyeshadows on my eyes. I would use Mooney as my inner corner highlight, and it's the most perfect inner corner highlight. Again, hand on heart, this is my most used palette. I absolutely love it. If you haven't got this eyeshadow palette yet, go and get it. And that is it. These are my must-haves, my favourites, my most used, my least used, my biggest, my smallest palettes, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. I definitely have. It has definitely taken me on a journey down memory lane, and I've really enjoyed preparing this video for you guys and filming it as well, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, but for now, thank you so much for watching. You are the best, and I hope to see you next time.